noticed how geese are flying in a V formation and one side's longer than the other side? You know why that is? Because there's more geese on that side.
This week on Wilderness Systems Kayak Bassin, Chad Hoover continues his hunt for big bass in South Carolina. It's a special time of year for Chad and for all kayak bass fishing fanatics, as the nation's top anglers have gathered for the annual Kayak Bass Fishing Open, the biggest kayak bass fishing tournament in the country. With over $20,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs, including a $5,000 first place prize, the competition is fierce. But for most, the KBF Open is much more than a competition. It's an opportunity to connect with peers, to share ideas, and to make new, lifelong friends.
Well, let me check the sun. Let me get the light right. I got it.
As another great Kayak Bass Fishing Open event comes to an end, most anglers prepare for their long journey home. But a few dozen anglers are sticking around for a smaller follow-up tournament on the nearby private VIP Adventures Lake.
So here we are, we're back at VIP Adventures. It's the day after the 2014 Kayak Bass Fishing Open. We had some big fish caught, but what's more exciting is 20 anglers who just fished for 2 days in the Kayak Bass Fishing Open, many of which who pre-fished for a while, so who know what's going on around here. Fishing on a trophy lake. It's the KBF Open Sunday Shootout. 20 guys.
Everybody ready?
Big fish takes home a Wilderness Systems kayak and $500 cash. And then the rest of the cash is split up between second and third place. So 3 guys are gonna take home another check from this crazy weekend of fishing and fun that we call the KBF Open. And there's already somebody hooked up out there. So I'm gonna finish getting my gear together, giving these guys a little bit of a head start. I get to personally compete in this event this year. So it's cool for me to get out from behind the podium and get out on the water and try my skills against the rest of these guys from all over the country. So let's see how I do.
Look here, we're gonna have a good show today. There's gonna be a bunch of fish caught. I'm predicting there's probably gonna be 6 or 7 fish in the 8 and 9 pound range caught today.
You know, when retying after breaking the line, you want to make sure you go through all the guides, because it doesn't cast right if you miss the first 2. Just one more nugget of wisdom I'm dropping on you.
A nice fish for me.
We made a prediction, and the prediction is coming on. These are the kind of fish these people come for at VIP Adventures right here. Beautiful fish. Beautiful fish.
Threw a power team conviction trawl on a brush pile and then pulled this guy out.
You know, one of the great things about the KBF Open is that it's as much of a social experience and as much about fishing a great fishery as it is about competing for the cash and the prizes that are up for grabs. For more information on the Kayak Bass Fishing Open, make sure you stay tuned to the forums on KayakBassFishing.com.
Stay tuned as the big bass start biting and this year's Kayak Bass Fishing Shootout champion gets crowned. This week on Wilderness Systems Kayak Bassin, Chad Hoover is hosting the 2014 Kayak Bass Fishing Shootout at VIP Adventures in South Carolina, one of the best private trophy bass lakes in the country. As expected, a number of big bass have been landed, and so the competitors are scrambling to make the last few hours count.
Yeah, I was flipping the Hoover backslider. I was flipping out on the brush piles, and I got 3, 2 4s, lost a bigger fish, and then I came down here in the corner and threw this on top of brush pile, and the line just went straight, and I felt something. I set the hook, and I thought I was hung up on the brush, so I set the hook a second time. When I did the second time, it took off. There you go. VIP Adventures, Wilderness Systems Kayak.
All right, Mark, how's it looking?
Looking good, Chad. Looking
Ready to put
good.
up any big ones yet?
I tell you what, I told you about 10:30, 11 o'clock they start to get on. And the guys have figured out there's a few on the bank, but there's also a few out here in the middle. Spawning out here in 6 to 8 foot of water.
Gotcha. Well, I ain't figured it out. I did have one early, that about 6 pounds that hit out in about 6 to 8 foot of water. Then I went back and worked some of the creek mouths and some of the secondary points. I think I'm gonna take this Carolina rig and start working this offshore cover.
That's exactly right.
And try to find some kind of structural change, but I gotta run up here and grab a bite to eat real quick and make a phone call. Let's take a look at one of the big ones. Yeah,
Nice.
that's a good one.
Nice. Yes, sir.
Well, Mark, who we got in the lead so far?
I can't tell you that right now, sir. That's confidential information. At 3 o'clock, when the fish hit the scales, I'll let you know.
All righty then.
So stay tuned.
Welcome back to Wilderness Systems Kayak Bassin. This week, Chad is looking for big bass while hosting the Kayak Bass Fishing Shootout at VIP Adventures in South Carolina.
Have you ever noticed when you've got bank fishermen and boat fishermen that the boat fishermen are throwing as close as they possibly can to the bank and the bank fishermen are throwing as far away from the bank as they possibly can? Wonder who's got it right. I got this point right here and I can see half a dozen or more beds out here. And the great thing about this Power Pole Micro is I just gotta simply touch the button and then I can sit back and work this whole area. And my spinnerbait or my lure, any kind of lure that creates drag, is not gonna pull me towards it. So it really lets me sit here and dissect the fishery. Oh, it's wrapped. Oh. Nice. Well, that's not what we're looking for, but what I was doing is I was working the bed. I looked up out in front of the creek and I saw a treetop. And so I flipped the bait out to it. As soon as it hit the bottom, he jumped on it. So that little bit of intel lets me know. Let me get this guy back in the water. What that intel tells me is they haven't moved up shallow on the banks, but they are staging. So what we've got here is a deep creek, shallow banks on both sides, lots of sand spots that look like they've already been raked out, but these fish are pulled off, probably with this frontal system coming. They've pulled off into these ledges. I was in about 5.5 foot of water, pitched out to about 7, and that fish hit it as soon as it hit the bottom. So that means those fish are definitely not up on the bank, and I need to be focusing on that cover and structural changes out in that 5 to, somewhere in the 5 to 10 foot range until I can find the big girls.
With time ticking down to the weigh-in, the rain finally lets loose and brings the kayak bass fishing shootout to a soggy conclusion.
All right, guys, so here we are. It's the end of the KBF Sunday shootout here at VIP Adventures. The last 2 hours of the day was pouring down rain and everybody fished hard right to the end. So here's the deal. First place, Wilderness Systems Fishing Kayak and $500. Second place, $400. Third place is $300. Fourth place is a $100 Hook One gift card. So let's see how the field checks out.
All right, here we go. Paul's got the first fish. Paul's bass from Michigan, 4 pounds even. Mark it. All right, here we go. Uh-oh. It's the Austin man. 4 pounds, 5 ounces. Beautiful. How many fish did you catch today?
5.
You caught 5 today? Beautiful, beautiful. How old are you?
14.
Next professional right here. 14 years old, y'all. Ain't scared to fish against the men.
That's my retirement plan.
Beautiful. Beautiful job. Here you go.
Started taping a rod to his hand at about 18 months.
6 pounds, 3 ounces. Mark that one. He's a hog, son. Nice. 7.9 pounds, Cecil Wolf from Canada.
All right, last man to the scales for the 2014 KBF Open Sunday Shootout. Fellow Wilderness Systems pro, Troy Meyerhofer. That's a big fish, but let's take it over to the scales and find out if it's gonna be big enough.
All right, Troy. 7 pounds, 1 ounce. 7 pounds, 1 ounce.
All right, guys, that wraps it up for the 2014 KBF Open. Mr. Cecil Wolf, all the way down from Canada, caught a 7.9. He's gonna take home a Wilderness Systems Ride 115 kayak. First day in the kayak, right?
Yes,
Were you
sir.
fishing from a borrowed kayak?
Yes.
Well, now you got your own,
Yes.
and you got $500 cash to outfit it with whatever accessories you need. Well, guys, thanks for joining us on this episode.
right,
That's
man.
a wrap for the 2014 KBF Open and the VIP Adventures Sunday Shootout. We had a great time, made a lot of friends, caught a lot of bass, and we're going to do it all over again next year in Paris, Tennessee on beautiful Kentucky Lake. Stay tuned to KayakBassFishing.com for the dates, the event announcements, and make sure you sign up to come join in on the action.
If you don't subscribe to Kayak Bassin TV, your wife may leave you. And your girlfriend too. Your truck might have a flat tire. You might break a rod. Or flip your kayak. Or lose your wallet. And your cell phone. And your job. Which means you'll lose your house, car, family. In fact, your wife, she might leave you for your girlfriend.